Here it is, he is taking a step back and then boom, the ankle snaps. It's not even his ankle really, it is his leg. And then you see he's literally like stepping onto his shin essentially with his foot over here at a totally different spot in the ring. What's up guys, Derek from PlateSmartAids.com. Today we're going to be talking about the freak accident that just happened at UFC. Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier. You know, you would expect an epic, tiebreaker fight and an unfortunate freak accident outcome where Conor takes a step back and ends up snapping his fucking leg. Like, it's a gruesome goddamn scene. It's one of those things like the Anderson Silva thing, the Chris Weidman thing. Something that, it's a fucking shame when you see it, and it is something that makes you want to curl up in a ball and fucking cringe. Like, it's fucking ruthless. We're only going to show a little bit here just so you get an idea of what kind of severity I'm talking about, but obviously, the clip is probably circulated around to you by now. You've probably seen it or you watched it live yesterday. But here it is, he is taking a step back and then boom, the ankle fucking snaps. It's not even his ankle really, it is his leg. And then you see he's literally like stepping onto his shin essentially with his foot over here at a totally different spot in the ring. And then he ends up falling back after totally snapping the shit out of it. And that's the end of the fight. So what are we here to do besides, commentate on, how ruthless that fucking was and unfortunate of a situation? We're going to spin it in the Meathead Chemist context. How is he going to recover? What is a WADA compliant protocol he could follow to assist with bone healing? This guy just snapped all kinds of shit in his leg. This guy is definitely on a potentially long road to recovery. I don't know if he's ever going to get back in the ring, but there is certainly some kind of exogenous, performance enhancing agents he could be using. Not performance enhancing, that's a poor way to put it, but things that can be leveraged to enhance his recovery to super physiological levels. And we're going to be getting into a WADA compliant one specifically because he is in fact in the UFC. He's randomly drug tested all the time. There are a lot of things that I would in general recommend looking into with doctor oversight that you're not allowed to do in the UFC, like TB500, a very, very useful peptide for recovery, injury healing, shit like this. Unfortunately, it is banned in the UFC. There are a lot of agents that are banned in the UFC that are synthetic and will easily get picked up through urine analysis that you otherwise would be able to use, willy-nilly and help you assist with your recovery. But for him, he's really limited. So what can he do specifically? Well, obviously the first go-to is, it's worth mentioning, if this is an educational material in any aspect, it's worth mentioning how important the diet is, obviously, recovery, sleep, etc. Like, he already knows that though, but having a diet rich in, vitamin K2, D3, magnesium, calcium, vitamin C, that kind of shit, obviously very critical. Having enough protein, the building blocks for recovery, this kind of stuff is obviously no-brainer stuff. I don't think I need to elaborate in too much detail on the obvious macro and micronutrient requirements of injury recovery and especially bone healing. So above and beyond that, getting into the performance enhancement side, not really performance enhancement, I don't know why I keep calling it that, but these are seen as, like drugs at the end of the day, which would be lumped into the PED category by most individuals. So we're just, talking about it as such. So anyways, we're in the prohibited list of WADA, and as you can see, there is an array of things that would otherwise be quite useful for bone mineral density, bone integrity, recovery, that we're not able to use. We can't use anything with androgenic signaling, peptide, hormones, growth factors, related substances, and mimetics. Takes a whole bunch of shit off the table that's very useful. Some of these substances may be found without limitation in medications used for treatment of anemia, hypogonadism, growth hormone deficiency. Beta-2 agonists, a bit less relevant, but obviously we are not going to be using things like clenbuterol for, helping our bones. Hormone and metabolic modulators, diuretics and masking agents, prohibited methods, stimulants, narcotics, cannabinoids, glucocorticoids, beta blockers. So, mainly the main section that is of note is the peptide, hormones, growth factors, related substances, and mimetic section. So here you can see erythropoietin and agents affecting erythropoiesis. So this is a lot of different compounds that otherwise assist with anything to do with blood building, enhancing your hematology profile. This would otherwise be useful in a endurance aspect, but in addition, angiogenesis, actually getting oxygenating tissues to a greater extent. This kind of thing is going to assist in obviously performance enhancement, but recovery, very much so. So a lot of this stuff is off the table though, unfortunately. However, when you get into the bioidentical testing, you can actually find pretty significant loopholes when it comes to things that are already endogenously produced in the body. Things like EPO, for example, which is, alike to something like a HGH or something alike to a testosterone. These things are detected in urine and or blood via, in general, longitudinal data that pops a red flag that then constitutes subsequent high quality, high sensitivity testing that will then differentiate if it is endogenously produced via human derived processes and or if it is going to be derived from synthetic means through recombinant preparation. So for example, with erythropoietin, with recombinant HGH, these things are prepared in a very certain way for commercial sale that are how they detect them in the body. However, if you were to utilize something that was prepared in actually bioidentical, not just, bioidentical by the fact that it is indeed erythropoietin or HGH, but by the fact that it's literally bioidentical to the same chemical signatures found endogenously produced in the body, like for example, HGH, which we're going to be getting into next, about its isoform differential immunoassay, that kind of thing can be leveraged to get around this section and then enhance phlebotic related things in the body. So this would be, your erythropoietin mainly. We're not going to be looking at synthetic peptides and whatnot and mimetics that are otherwise going to get picked up super fucking easily. If you have that present in any capacity, some synthetic peptide, research chemical or some shit, it's pretty obvious what you're trying to do. However, if you have erythropoietin in your body and it literally matches what you are naturally producing, the only thing that could, raise suspicion is significant aberrations in your longitudinal data in your biological passport. But even if they do subsequent high sensitivity testing, if indeed the EPO that you have is literally bioidentical, there's no way to assert that you have indeed cheated. So again, obviously you would keep your, longitudinal data within a reasonable range, but this is something that could be leveraged to enhance recovery in some aspects. But more so what we're interested in is the peptide hormones and the releasing factors. This is things like GH, its fragments and releasing factors, including but not limited to GH frag, AOD 9604, HGH 176191, growth hormone releasing hormone and its analogs. This includes CJC 1295. With the drug affinity complex, without the drug affinity complex, also known as MOD-GRF 1-29, things like ibutamoren, ipamorelin, anamorelin, macamorelin, tabimorelin, this one I haven't even heard of, GHRPs, GHRP1, GHRP2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and hexarelin, like pretty much the full gamut of shit. And then you get into the growth factors and growth factor modulators, FGF, HGF, IGF-1, MGF, PDGF, TB500, VEGF. Now, notable is the fact that the, tried and true, brother to this compound that is typically used for recovery is not being tested for by USADA, and that is BPC-157, something that is very, very useful in a angiogenesis context, something that is going to significantly help accelerate bone healing. This is something that will definitely be useful to implement, and I would highly recommend Conor be using. I'm sure he probably has somebody in his camp that has advised that he implement this at a fucking high dose. Like, this is something that I imagine will be very, very useful to enhancing his recovery and expediting the process of getting back on his feet and actually staying on his feet, not having it fucking snap out from under him. Other than that, we're looking at other kind of peptides. What can be useful? Mainly looking at angiogenesis, things that increase bone mineral density, things that have signaling pathways that otherwise reinforce bone integrity and speed up that kind of proliferation, differentiation, and kind of reinforce the integrity of the structural foundation of his skeleton, basically. And there's not a whole lot you can fucking do. However, another compound that I've mentioned before is GHK copper. This is a interesting copper complex peptide that is often referred to in the anti-aging space, hair loss community. Is it really that useful in those, applications? To be honest, I don't really think so. However, it has a variety of roles in the human body, including but not limited to promoting activation of wound healing, attracting immune cells, antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects, stimulating collagen and glycosaminoglycan synthesis in skin fibroblasts, and promoting blood vessel growth. That one's always a fucking mouthful. I always have to write that one down. But it is indeed useful in a healing context. This is something that a lot of people don't realize is not just a cosmetic agent. This is something that can actually significantly enhance recovery processes, and I think could be a useful addition stacked on top of the BPC 157. Now, the next main thing I would be looking at is good old human growth hormone. Now, would I be using, traditional recombinant human growth hormone, using the one isoform that is going to get picked up on a isoform differential immunoassay if you were to be subsequently tested after having I wouldn't even think you would have an aberration that would subsequently warrant that test. You would just get it, off the bat if you are randomly subject to it because they decide to do a more expensive test. This isn't something they do very often. Like, for example, in the NBA, I believe they only test for HGH like once or twice in the entire year, despite having more randomized random tests and shit. They will, even though it's like the most highly leveraged, most obvious compound for basketball players to be using, they only test for it a couple times a year, if I recall correctly, despite the fact that there is, more random testing at other times of the year. It's not always included because this is an expensive test to do, and it doesn't always, make sense given the fact that, resources are limited. It's very hard to detect and catch somebody, because the window of opportunity for catching a guy using this form of testing is extremely fucking narrow window here. Why they have not implemented the IGF-1 biomarker test, more, regularly, it's, fucking beyond me, given the fact that GH significantly elevates IGF-1 levels in many individuals, and those levels will remain elevated for far longer than you can otherwise detect a aberration in an isoform differential immunoassay. I don't fucking get it, but that's just what they're doing. That's where they're allocating their money, and they do it very infrequently, where they even allocate their money to that. Just like with EPO, was TJ Dillashaw tested significantly every single time he was using EPO? No, the only reason they subsequently tested him and actually assessed it with the high sensitivity testing is because there was a red flag. This is why the steroidal module exists. This is why the biological passport exists with the hematology parameters. This is to, tip off, people that you might want to do more specified targeted testing for a very specific bioidentical compound. And then that's where, you dig in further and like, oh shit, this guy's been using this stuff in many fights, it's, and again, like it comes down to resources probably, as well as, speculative, who is suspicious? Have you gotten a tip, to test this guy? Has somebody outed him and given you a reason to spend additional resources to go out of your way to do higher level testing than you would otherwise give to the other athletes who are getting randomized testing with basic urine analysis and the biological passport that athletes undergo? There obviously has to be pretty significant reason to warrant it. But anyways, with the HGH, circumventing the HGH isoform differential immunoassay, is this something you can do? Well, even as far back as fucking, the 70s or 80s, we have like cadaver-derived GH. Is this something you're gonna use as an athlete? Obviously not, but this is an example of truly bioidentical GH, literally extracted from a goddamn pituitary gland with a ratio of HGH isoforms that is literally bioidentical and literally can completely circumvent any kind of testing that WADA throws at you, or USADA, I should say. This is something that, obviously, as the years have progressed, decades later, synthetic means of administering a isoform coordinated combination, essentially, is, if that made any fucking sense the way I was elaborating on it, having a actually balanced isoform profile of an HGH preparation that is not simply your commercial serostim, hemotrope, norditropin, that is of the one isoform variant that is going to be very obviously detectable through isoform differential immunoassay, you otherwise have a balanced profile that matches what you endogenously produce through your pituitary. And then boom, all of a sudden you can get around every single test if you were to be tested even. So that's something he could obviously be doing. The guy has deep pockets and he has the resources to make it happen. And who knows, maybe he's already fucking doing it for all we know. But that is something that would definitely be useful to injury proof, or at least highly reinforce the structural integrity of a UFC athlete, as well as enhance recovery quite significantly. So I would definitely be looking at that. You know, if it were me, probably be, you know, looking at my options in that regard. I'm not saying you should or you shouldn't, but it is definitely something that could potentially help if he were to, you know, again, he shouldn't be doing this if he's in the testing pool, but yeah, it'd probably fucking help. But anyways, what else can he be doing? Something I thought was interesting is the interplay with estrogen receptor activation and bone integrity. So obviously you probably know, well actually I don't know why I would say you probably know, but you might know how estrogen has significant implications in bone health. This is something that literally regulates when epiphyseal plates close when you're in your teen years. This is something that regulates puberty and bone maturation and whatnot. This is something that is very, very overlaps significantly with osteoporosis, you know, postmenopausal women who have their bones fucking fall apart. Some of this is androgenic signaling, but a lot of it is complete estrogen deprivation as well. This kind of stuff, obviously estrogen receptors have, you know, pretty significant interplay with bone strength as well. So this is where you can look at, is there anything you can leverage through the estrogen receptor vector, seeing as androgen receptors are basically off limits, given that pretty much every fucking compound under the sun, except for, you know, designer drugs that obviously you could be implementing if you have the resources to design a, you know, novel chemical and or dig through pharmaceutical archives and then tweak and modify an existing compound that is not being tested for, which I'm sure shit is being done. You know, this is a perfect example. Things like THG, the clear back in the Balco days. That is one of the, you know, most obvious examples of this happening. And if you think it isn't happening now, I think that's a bit of an oversight. I think it's, you know, there definitely are capable chemists out there who have the know-how to take a base molecule and, you know, tweak and modify it accordingly to make another, you know, 19-node derived compound or another DHC derivative that otherwise does not have an assay developed for it. That can be easily scooped up through GCMS testing and a urine analysis. So that's obviously something too, you know, androgenic signaling through that vector, but something that is not being tested for by WADA and is obviously very useful, or at least I speculate to be useful based on some of the data available, is ecdysteroids. This is something I've talked about through my terkesterone videos. I've talked about in my ecdysterone video. These compounds actually have shown in, you know, obviously, you know, you have to extrapolate how you will. This is rodent data at the end of the day, but they have shown to have anti-osteoporotic effects, which do not even overlap with the estrogen receptor in some aspects. There are some aspects through it, interacts through that in a hypertrophy context, interacts through it through, the alkaline phosphatase interactions through the estrogen receptor as well. And this is how estrogen receptor gene activity is increased by ecdysteroids. But in addition to that, the increase in type 1 collagen expression, osteocalcin, and RUNX2 do not seem to be via the estrogen receptor, and downstream from the application of something like a terkesterone or ecdysterone can actually reinforce the structural integrity of bones and potentially speed up bone healing as well. And we see in some of these models where you have significant anti-osteoporotic effects being induced by these ecdysteroids, which are things that are going to be non-suppressive, interestingly enough, despite interacting with estrogen receptors. They're not going to fuck with your biological passport. They may be performance enhancing to a, you know, reasonable enough extent, but more importantly, may have some important effects on bone integrity and strength, you know, and recovery ability. So this is something that I see as very promising, could easily be implemented, because despite it being on the watch list, things like ecdysterone and terkesterone are not yet being tested for. So anyways, that is just a little glimpse into some of the things I thought of off the top of my head that I thought could be potentially useful for him. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, maybe learned something. If you enjoy my deep dives into sports related or bodybuilding pharmacology, you know, drop a sub, it's much appreciated, as well as like and comment, helps the algorithm, also much appreciated. If you want to support the channel, you can check out anything I'm associated with in the video description below, as well as follow me on socials, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, TikTok, Apple Podcasts, and anything I'm associated with that helps support the channel. My TRT clinic, it's all telemedicine from the comfort of your own home. Get high quality oversight by doctors who understand how to interpret biomarkers, blood work, high quality diagnostics, even know what to order you in the first place and how to interpret it, and then design a high quality protocol individualized for your specific needs, regardless if it's involving pharmacology or it's just, natural intervention through lifestyle changes, dietary modifications. We have experts on call who are what make our clinic turnkey. We're not just a cookie cutter clinic that is going to give you TRT, HCG and anastrozole, kick you out the door, make a markup on medication. Rather, we pride ourselves in our service, and that's where we make the majority of our money, is on the service end and the markup on that, because you are not guaranteed to get thrown on drugs like a lot of these clinics are doing, where they're just fucking testosterone mills at the end of the day. So if you want high quality oversight by docs who actually know what the fuck they're doing, and I've vetted myself, check it out. It is in the video description below, as well as anything else I'm associated with that helps support the channel. It is all in the video description below. Thank you guys for watching. Talk to you soon.